Today we're at the fire station in Boise, station number 3, and we're here to visit my friend Jason Chan. And I say we because I have a companion on this trip. I have Caleb, who's my cameraman this time around. So Caleb, why don't you say hi?
Hi, I'm Caleb.
Hey, good to see you guys. What's up? I'm good. How are you?
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Glad you're here.
Yeah, well, can we just have a tour?
Of course. Come on in. And it's actually also a station that houses paramedics. So they have an office right here. That's Cameron and Jill. They're working today. And this is the captain's office. This is Captain Spencer.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you guys. How are you doing?
Good.
And
And don't forget, Caleb, don't forget the dog.
Absolutely.
We did have a question. Do fire stations have a dog? A real dog?
You know, not anymore. I
Yeah,
think
that's
they
what I-
actually used to, but not anymore. Just too much hassle, and we take off. Leaving the dog here is not a great idea. So we have those kind of dogs now.
That was a little lame,
Okay.
okay?
When I'm here. And 48 hours is our normal schedule. There's 3 shifts, A, B, and C. I'm here for 48 hours, then B shift. This is actually B shift. I'm working for a guy today, but they'll be here for 48 hours. So today and tomorrow, which is Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday would be C shift. So this is my room for 48 hours, and then when the next guy comes, it'll be his room for 48 hours.
Do you stay at the same station?
It depends. So, like David, the guy we met out there, he's on probation. He moves around each month to a different station. Once he finishes his probationary period, then he's going to be what they call a swing guy or a roaming guy or whatever. And he could move every shift, or even during the day he might move multiple times to different stations. I'm permanently assigned to this station. So I normally will come to this station, but I am also on the dive team. So if a dive member is gone from the dive station, they might swing me down there to be at the dive station. I also swing up to captain or work out a class to captain. So if they needed a captain at station 4 or wherever, they might swing me out. So normally I'm going to be here, but it can change. Workout room.
Oh, yeah.
Which we organized just the other day. I've only been at this station for a couple of weeks.
Do you guys have like a workout routine, or do you do your own routine?
Guys kind of do their own thing. I have my workout routine that I do, and some stations they do train together and they get like a little circuit going, and it just depends. All right, going for a max here. This is a lot of weight. Whoa! Nice. This is our rig room.
Wow.
Yeah, that is engine 3. Again, small station, so this station only has the one fire engine, and then the paramedics, there's an ambulance on the other side, which we'll see when we go over there. But at the dive station, when I get swung over there, we have an engine, we have a battalion chief's rig, the dive boat, a brush rig, a jet ski, a truck out back with a trailer that has a 4-wheeler and motorcycles. So this is where we are. This is station 3. And I usually come to the map so I can tell where I'm going before I leave. I just like to get a visual before I leave.
And then you know where, like, you don't have it on like a GPS thing, you just remember it?
Yes. A lot of times the hosman or the firefighter that sits in back, Dave, he'll pull it up on his phone now, and he might tell me, okay, hey, you're going to turn right on Linden or whatever, and they guide me in that way. But before we had all the technology, yeah, the fire or the driver would just know. Hey, you just kind of get a mental picture and go.
Is there people that train just to be the driver? Or driver, there's different roles. Driver, captain,
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah, so when you first get hired, you are a firefighter or a hosman, and then it's a testing process. So if you want to be a driver, you have to be a firefighter for, I think, at least 3 years now. But then you test to become a driver, so you study and you take an actual test. It's a testing process. You put on a list after you pass all the things, and then if a position comes open, depending on where you are on the list, you might get promoted. It's the same thing for captain. It's a testing position. Here's my boots. We have them ready to go. So depending on the call, if it's a medical call, I'm just going to go in this. And if it's a fire call, I'm going to throw those on and that. And we're going to go. Do you want me to put those on there now?
Sure.
I thought you might. So, we got a fire call. So I'm going to come out here, and I just throw these on. I keep them ready to go.
Look how fast
Pull
that
this
is.
up. And I'm going in slow-mo speed right now because I want you to be able to see me do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty fast. I got my hood here. Put this on. Like this. Hold on.
Goodness.
Okay. There you go. This is the driver's compartment. So lots of stuff like the fire hydrant. We're going to use this hose to hook to the fire hydrant because this particular engine only has, I think it has 750 gallons of water. We used to only carry 500, but 750 gallons of water. So we need more water than that. So we're going to hook to a fire hydrant so we have continuous water. There's different adapters and nozzles for different applications.
That's a lot of water.
Yeah, it goes pretty fast though.
Yeah. These these trucks are probably so heavy.
They are heavy. Yes, I don't know exactly, but I want to say 20 to 40,000 pounds.
Crazy.
Don't quote me on that. Air cylinders, this is the driver's pack. This is my air pack. And then these are just extra air bottles. If when we run out of air, those guys run out of changing.
Whoa.
These are most of the tools that we would use on like in a fire situation. There's pulling tools and cutting tools and car lockout kit. All firefighters are EMTs, basic EMTs. We do have some paramedics and some advanced EMTs, but we go on a lot of medical calls. So this is our medical compartment. We have a defib unit and then just a medical bag that has just a bunch of different medical supplies.
Why is that in the exhaust pipe?
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, good question.
And I'll put this here.
So this serves a couple of purposes. And this hose is not working. So when we start the engine, obviously it puts out exhaust.
Oh,
We don't want to breathe that, so this is supposed to eject most of this to the outside, so it's not built up in here. And then also this is on a magnet, you can tell. So when we go out the door, it pulls this hose down here, and when it hits, it'll hit the end down here, which also triggers that door to close. So it automatically shuts the door for us when we move.
Oh, that's cool.
So to get the exhaust out and to make that door come down so we don't have an empty station.
Did you always want to be a firefighter? How did you get into this?
You know, for me personally, it wasn't something I ever thought of when I was younger. A lot of guys, it is their dream, but for me personally, I grew up, went to high school, college, I got a business degree, I was working as a finance guy, a mortgage officer at a bank, and didn't enjoy wearing the suit every day, and my brother-in-law just said, oh, you ought to be a fireman. And I had never thought of it, but I knew a couple of fire guys that worked out at the gym I worked out at, and they were always happy, and and I like to work out, and so I was like, okay, well, maybe. So I took a test. You have to take a written test. It's the first step. And I didn't even have any idea you could study for this test, but I remember sitting next to the guy in the auditorium at Boise State, and he said, well, I hope all that studying paid off. And I looked at him, and I was like, you can study for this? And I was like, oh man, I'm in trouble. There's 1,000 people taking this test, so.
And limited amount of places,
limited
right?
amount of places. So I took that test, and I passed the test, but my score wasn't nearly high enough because there were so many people. So the test itself isn't that hard, but you just have to score pretty high because there's so many people taking the test. So then, to me, it wasn't that I really wanted to be a firefighter, but I was just like, if somebody challenges me, I like to try to win. And so then I was just like, I wanted to prove I could do it. So I just started taking tests all over. I tested in Caldwell and Spokane. Any test that came up, I was like, I'm taking a test. Took the test, and I scored high enough, and so no, it wasn't something I really always wanted to do for me personally, but I just kind of wanted to prove that I could do it. So then I just set out to do it, and here I am.
What is your craziest or most exciting call, or not exciting? I don't know.
Craziest or most exciting? Whenever somebody asks me that, I'm always reminded of a call I went on when I was first hired. We got a call for a snake attached to Teen's head.
Wow.
And they literally had this 20-foot python as a pet in a bedroom. This kid had gone in to feed it, and he looked into the cage to find it, and the thing just went and lashed onto his head. And so when we got there, he's standing there. And this snake is like this big around. So he's standing there like this, holding the snake. It's attached to his head, and we're going, okay. And a python, they're the ones that will wrap around you and they'll squeeze you to death. Somebody said, well, pour alcohol on it and it'll release. And so we're like, okay. We dumped a little alcohol on the snake, and sure enough, it released. And the kid, he had just a little bit of a little chunk out of his forehead, nothing bad. Wasn't really even bleeding that bad. So yeah, I personally think it's important to be physically fit because it's a physically demanding job. You were asking me what happens if you get woken up in the middle of the night, and I think the better shape you're in, that helps you deal with that better. But you're asked to lift heavy things and pull heavy things and work when you're tired, and your fitness is important. I also think it's very important to be emotionally well, just mentally, because you're going to see a lot of things that the average person doesn't see. Because people don't call 911 because they're having a good day. They're usually having a bad day. It's usually their worst day. And so you're going to see a lot of trauma and sickness and illness. And so mental health is very important too. So those two things I think are real important. And for someone wanting to be a firefighter, I think it's important that, not necessarily my path, but I would encourage you to get to know some of the firemen in your area, if you're from Eagle or wherever. Spend some time getting to know some of those guys and asking them questions and just making sure it's something that you really want to do, because if you go into this and it's not something you want to do, you're going to be miserable. For most guys, they love this job and they say it's the best job in the world, but for someone who wouldn't want to do this, it's going to be terrible for them. So for me personally, I think one of the best parts of this job is I come from kind of an athletic background. I was always part of sports teams, and the fire department is very similar. You're part of a team, and that camaraderie you develop is something that I really enjoy, and I feel like that's a transition for me from being on an athletic team to a different type of team. So I love that about this job. You just kind of have a second family, just a really tight-knit group.
Go team!
Yeah. That was a good one.
Oh, it wasn't that loud.
There you go.
I thought I was really going to be startled. Like I
Yeah.
didn't.
Well, when you're asleep,
Oh yeah.
it does startle you.
That's why I wasn't very good on the, like I was almost anticipating like fire drills.
Uh-huh.
Like at the
Yeah, yeah,
school, they are
yeah.
so loud.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jason.
You bet. Have a great day, guys.
Really well.
Make sure you get that on camera.
Yeah, I got that on camera.